So here we go then. It's time once again. Formula E kicks off in Mexico City for Season 9 and Generation number 3. Hello everybody, welcome to live coverage of qualifying with the watch along as well here on JB Motorsports. We're getting ready for what is going to be an absolute cracking season of action as well. Myself, Edward Hunter and Nick Homewood are in the commentary box for you as well. Joining us later, Mark Preston as well, the Techeetah team principal, will be joining the watch along commentary for the E-Prix itself. That gets underway at 7 o'clock GMT this evening as well, 1900 hours. The first part of qualifying is coming up shortly as well. Now, this qualifying format as well, it's pretty much a split of odd and even cars going forward in future qualifying sessions as well. Those who are odd and even in the championship will be sort of spread out that way. Let's take a quick look though at what the calendar looks like coming in to Season 9. So it all starts here in Mexico City as well. I was just looking at downtown Mexico. That's today on the 14th of January. Next up is a double header. The 27th and 28th of January we go to Diriyah in Saudi Arabia as well. Then new venues. On the 11th of February we go to Hyderabad in India as well. 25th of February as well we are in Cape Town, South Africa. It's going to be a brand new location as well. Same day as F1 testing. We will still be live. Then for round 6 of the season, the last of the new races before we start, it is the 25th of March for the Sao Paulo E-Prix at Brazil. Then, for the first time, we head over to Europe for a double header. The Berlin Autodrome we'll see on the 22nd and 23rd of April. Monaco will be on the 6th of May on the full Grand Prix out for round 9. Double header now for Jakarta on the 3rd and 4th of June for rounds 10 and 11. Hopefully we'll be trackside in Portland on the 24th of June for round 12 as well. And then on rounds 13, 14, a double header in Rome, Italy, 15th and 16th of July. And the season rounds out. Same weekend as the Hungarian Grand Prix, but we'll be live, London calling. It's a fantastic season and we're all set. Let's get into qualifying then for Mexico. And joining me now in the commentary box, Nick Homewood and Edward Hunter, as well as we get all set for Season 9 of ABB FIA Formula E as well. The World Championship returning, but it's the same qualifying format that we're all used to as well. Group A, Group B, then we go into the duels with the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and then the final. And at the end, whoever gets pole position gets World Championship points as well. Nick Homewood and Ed Hunter join us in the box. Mark Preston will be joining us as well. I don't know if he's coming in for qualifying, but he's definitely here for the race later on as well. It's going to be absolutely fantastic to have his input as well. But starting with you, Ed, we left Season 8 in Seoul as well, with Stoffel van Dorn getting the championship. We come here now, he's looking quick again, but it's now with the DS Penske, not the old format with BMW. It's all changed coming into this season.
I don't remember Stoffel van Dorn ever driving a BMW. But,
no, I meant that, and the Penske's changed over. Yeah, Mercedes changed over, and Penske's changed. Anyway,
yeah. Well, certainly that's another change. Of course, Andretti, the former BMW customers, now switched to being a Porsche customer with Jake Dennis and former Porsche driver Andre Lotterer. But anyway, to actually answer your question, yes, Van Dorn and Verne, the two Vs, hoping to add a third V in the form of victory for DS Penske, of course. And it's effectively the full DS team now. There's a few people who've stayed on from the Dragon Penske days, but essentially DS Penske, it's a whole new world, and they certainly seem like very imperious, always there or thereabouts, near the very top of the timing sheets in practice. And yeah, certainly them and Maserati go in as probably the favourites, although there are a couple others that are certainly looking to spring a surprise based on free practice.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got to talk about Maserati coming into the championship as well. They topped Valencia testing as well by 1/10 of a second to Van Dorn and the Penske's lot as well. But Maserati using the same powertrain as DS Penske as well. So their only real competitor we can look at is the Neo McLaren, which I know you don't like calling him Neo McLaren, so we'll just call it McLaren. But
Well,
they're
I think I
entering.
prefer calling them the oh no, don't break it. Amnesty. That's just how much I hate them. To break the whole thing. I know my camera's backwards here, but I put the instead of Neom, I put the Amnesty International logo.
Not backwards for us, don't worry. We can
Because
still
I
see
thought
it,
that
yeah.
would upset the Saudis the most, and maybe McLaren too.
Yeah,
But
do you reckon McLaren could sneak a pole? I mean, Jake Hughes has been looking very fast this weekend as well, as Nicky's actually talking to him
possibly.
still.
It depends on how much they can get out of that Nissan, of course, and they are a very, very capable customer team because they won the championship the last 2 seasons as a factory team. Essentially, it's still the same Mercedes squad. It's not quite the same as DS Penske, where basically all the DS engineers from DS Techeetah have moved over to DS Penske. Is basically McLaren buying wholesale a championship-winning team. So I certainly think it's a great lineup. We did see Rast blonk it into the wall, pushing a bit too hard yesterday, and we see Mortara, speaking of Maserati, do the same in FP2 this morning. Mexico time. I think it was afternoon our time.
Yeah.
But but yeah, so certainly a few people pushing the limits. But yeah, Jake Hughes as a rookie has certainly found his feet very quickly, and he's very experienced in terms of Formula 2 and also being a reserve driver for Mercedes in the simulator. So he's certainly done a lot of his sim laps going into this one for sure. I certainly think Jake Hughes could surprise. I think McLaren will be quite strong. I don't see the Nissan as quite being good enough to get on pole, but we'll see.
And Nick, coming to you as well. Welcome back. Last season we had you in Formula 1, British Touring Cars, did the odd Formula E as well, but it's felt nice having you here for this one. I mean, this is going to be absolutely chaotic. Generation 3, we were talking just before we came on air, the cars so different, they are more powerful, and hopefully as well, we're going to get better racing, if that was even possible, because Formula E is always a car crash.
Well, I just hope the brakes work. Because they haven't got that emergency brake in place yet, have they?
No, not just yet, sadly as
No,
well.
just the electrical ones, don't they?
Yeah, so it could be interesting. I think we could be seeing a few people in the wall, not off any kind of racing. Just first time they've really had a chance to fully push the cars, especially in quali. The Mexico track is a fairly challenging one, although not as tight as ones we'll get later in the season. London's going to be very interesting, I think, with these cars.
Yeah.
But it's definitely looking forward to it. And it's the first race of the year. It's motorsport is back.
Absolutely. And the green light is about to go on now. So qualifying is underway. Group A here in Mexico City. Let's give you a list of who's going out there. It's the odd and even car number splits for the first session as well. So your entry number is what gets split as well. So it's in Group A, Robin Frines, Andre Lotterer, Jean-Eric Verne, Sebastian Buemi, Sam Bird, Lucas de Grassi, Maximilian Gunther, Rene Rast, Sergio Sete Camara, Sasa Fentras as well, and Antonio Felix da Costa going out there as well. They're just heading out of the track, guys, and it now looks a lot sunnier than what it did earlier on when it was 6 degrees here in track temperature. It is up at the moment. Track temperature now 17 degrees, Ed. Air temperature 13. But not everybody did full power lap times, which is what we've really got to be worried about coming into this session.
Yeah, certainly. The drivers like Sam Bird, who spent most of FP2 stationary in the garage, essentially, and after a failure. Certainly, that's what I think Nick was alluding to. The Jaguar-powered cars have a lot of question marks over them because they've probably had the most reliability scares, I think, of anyone. But fingers crossed they can get through qualifying okay without causing any red flags for themselves or for the cars behind. But yeah, Group A looks like it's got some really, really good drivers in it. So certainly lots to look forward to. I think the likes of Da Costa, who else is in the group? Gunther's in this group as well, I think. And I think, is it Buemi? Yeah, it'll be interesting how Buemi gets on in that Jaguar Envision. And I really hope Sam Bird can get a decent lap in because he's just, like I said, spent pretty much all of FP2 not doing very much. In fact, here he is now on screen. We can see him. Well, not people watching can see him, but we can.
Oh, you've got the driver tracker that might hopefully show you as well. Sam Bird then down in towards turn number 1, heavy on the regen. As we mentioned in the practice highlights, both the front and rear brakes now harvest energy, so it's a completely different feeling. We heard Oliver Askews on the World Feed commentary as well saying that its braking capacity, this new car, is like nothing he's ever experienced before, and Sam has had a couple of problems with that. As Nick, you mentioned earlier on about the braking with the Jaguar, we saw when Sam sort of came to a stop in free practice too, the brakes completely locked up, and he had no control on how fast he was going. So it seems like when these cars die and just switch off, they lose the power braking as well, because it's now part of the regen power.
Well, they've got no rear brakes at all, if I understand correctly. So if the electrical component seize up, then there's, that is the brakes. There's no physical brake discs or anything, which very rarely seize on. So if something does go wrong, we could have a car just skidding to a stop in the middle of the track, which won't be great at all.
I mean, that's why they've actually removed the barriers. Oh, Sandberg giving a big old wiggle coming out the Peltada. Does a 1:16.909. Goes top. That's why they've removed some of the barriers at the high speed parts of the track. They can't remove it coming into the Forest Sol. So coming into turn 12 is going to be tricky. But they've removed that barrier edge down at turn 1, where last season, when De Vries, or was it the season before, De Vries had the problem and he hit the wall, and it caused a bit of problems. They've removed that barrier so you can just run and run and run. 2 seconds.
Throughout the year. Here's René Rast's radio.
Rast goes third, and we're not hearing anything on the radio at the moment. So we've got the radio open to see who we can select. But yeah, Ed, so they've tried to make this track safer, but you can't extend the runoff areas on a street circuit when we go to places like Hyderabad, South Africa, that sort of thing. It's very hard, and I'm fearing Diriyah next time out because we've got the bobsleigh section. Have they got to get this e-brake sorted and sort of get this under control?
If you've got a very simple solution there, Josh, which is don't watch Diriyah, which is my approach. But yeah, to be more serious about it, because obviously the drivers don't have that luxury because they've got to be there. But I certainly think the mechanical brake, or whatever the emergency brake system, might be hydraulics actually, not mechanical, but whatever system it uses, I think that will be in place by the time of that race. So it's just the proximity of Mexico, because the cars had to be shipped directly from pre-season testing to Mexico, so there wasn't time to make those changes. So because Mexico is, of course, the converted F1 venue, essentially on track, although as far as the bridge layouts go, I think it's one of the views at Monaco. The full unchanged Grand Prix layout, I think, is still pretty good, as Buemi seems to have gone top in the group. So to make those adjustments, just so obviously the odd sensation of people having to go straight on at turn 1 looks like they're trying to do the Grand Prix layout, essentially, which is a little bit of a weird sensation. But I think it's probably just a sort of just in case kind of a precautionary measure, and I think on the most part it's not too much of a compromise here at Mexico, whereas at somewhere like Saudi Arabia, thank goodness we don't race at Battersea Park anymore.
Yes.
Like because Nick was saying XL would be bad, but imagine the ring road at Battersea with a car that doesn't have any rear brakes or any front brakes either. That would be quite frightening.
Absolutely terrifying indeed. I hope they get that fixed shortly. Buemi is top of the world at the moment, but Andre Lotterer has just jumped up by 3.5 tenths of a second. So 1:13.509 the time to beat. This morning we were doing 1:12s as well, so I'm sort of expecting that to jump around shortly soon. Here's Lucas Di Grassi now as well in the DS Penske coming through. You can still see this flash of red.
Di Grassi's in the Mahindra.
Sorry, yeah, it's the front of the car that's bugging me here. Here's Gunther.
Is plus 3.5, but should be on a cooldown lap. We are P2, fastest lap is a 13.5, we are P3.
Yeah, Di Grassi in the Mahindra goes across the line. I knew it was going to happen at one point. You go on board and you can't actually tell, but maybe the Mahindra.
Well, also
will
the
be there.
logo for the Mahindra is essentially this kind of orange and then a white little butterfly logo, which is the new sort of emblem that Mahindra has essentially, instead of a 3-pointed star like Mercedes or the Trident that Maserati has. They use this sort of little weird butterfly kind of design, which is cool. I actually quite like that. Would be more helpful if it was the butterfly design with the little Indian flag at the bottom, like it's on the actual nose cone of the car.
Would be easy for us to see it on the stream, yeah.
But as is, I think it's nice they stick to the logo, because it used to be they just have a big M, which was also fine, but nice that they have an actual sort of symbol, as it looks like. Is that Gunther getting out of the way of some of the faster cars there?
Yeah, and Friends was complaining about it as well. There's a lot of traffic around the Forest Sol section of the circuit. Now, just to explain to you how this dual format works as well, because we don't usually cover qualifying live, this year we are. The top 4 from each Group A and Group B progress through to the quarterfinals as well. So at the moment, Lotterer, Degrassi, Bohemi and Gunther would progress through. Positions 5 to 11 in both categories will then form up row 5 onwards as well. So this, basically, if you're 5th below, you're starting from row 5, 9th, 10th onwards as well. The top 8 then go through to battle out for pole position in a very long, convoluted format that still hasn't been taken down on time, despite the fact they've got the faster regen abilities this year as well. Robin Friends, however, I think has done something at turn 9 and 10. And he's locked up the rears. And the fronts go too. And drifts it round. Does he hit the wall? No, he doesn't. Now, that's actually down at turn 5 and 6. It's the hairpin. So that's not ideal. As he comes back through.
Look at Thomas Biermeier gesticulating there. The replay of Friends going a bit wide into the hairpin and almost like going straight on into the wall if he wasn't careful. But that's Robin Friends for you in a nutshell, even if he's not in necessarily the best kind of apt sort of, it was a kind of 11th hour entry.
Yeah.
Him and Nico Muller have sort of had to get to grips with this custom Mahindra car quite quickly. But Robin Friends is the sort of driver who loves to wring the neck of this sort of thing and just sort of go for it. Whereas Nico Muller is much more of a reserved sort of character who likes to sort of focus on the race, focus on energy management. And we saw that pay off beautifully at Valencia a few years ago when there was a huge energy crisis and he snuck onto the podium as a result. But anyway, Friends goes 10th, I think, just ahead of rookie Sasha Finistras in the Nissan.
Yeah, Nick, I don't know if you were watching... Oh, 2 seconds.
Yeah, but tell me the traffic. I don't see anything.
Friends is still angry about the traffic because he can't see anything, but the teams have got the same information you're looking at on the watch log.
I didn't
here.
see a car in front of him when he went off there. That was kind of his own fault.
Yeah, I think he's doing the Max Verstappen of blaming the team thing. But yeah, Nick, I don't know if you were watching in Seoul as well when we were in South Korea, but the idea's gone up my mind now as well. What's the difference you're seeing as well between the end of Gen 2 and Gen 3 as well? You've driven in the Gen 2 car on the R-Factor simulation as well. It's incredibly close to its performance as it possibly can be. We've yet to get our hands on Gen 3, but what are you taking away from it? What's a driver's eye thinking of this?
Well, the most obvious thing is the increase in power. I think it's 100 kilowatts more.
Yeah.
Which you're going to have to be very... That's a lot of power, and with electric energy, that obviously goes straight to the wheels. So you've got to be very gentle on the throttle, or you're going to be all over the place. Especially with these road tyres and their Hankook now, aren't they? Instead of Michelin. So that's something else to learn. And again, the rear braking, that's going to be something that's going to be very weird to get used to, not having physical brakes on the back of the car.
Good lap by Bohemi there. Just about a 10th off of Lotterer's session topping time.
Brilliant there from Bohemi as well. That's.
And by the way, Josh, you said we hadn't got our hands on the Gen 3 car. Here's my hands wrapped very tightly around my own, made with my own 2 hands as well.
Now this is Jean-Eric Verne, and is that Robin Friends as well? That's a Neo coming through.
That's Sete Camera.
Sete Camera, yeah. And is that
Oh,
blocking?
and he set off right as it looked like he was about to let Sete Camera through.
Yeah, he's pulled off to the outside. Sete Camera's on board.
Sete Camera sort of sees him slowing in the FX, is about to go down the inside, and then Verne just speeds up.
Well, that's Jean-Eric down to the wire, isn't it? Nick, you're a race director as well with the ERC. How would you've read the rule book as well. You write the rule book. In fact, it's your bedtime reading. Would that be worth investigating, or is that just the track being Mexico as usual?
He could have got out of the way. And he did hold up Sete Camera quite a lot there, so I'd expect him to get something for that. Yeah.
Maybe a reprimand. You'd think the stewards would
Yeah,
at least
probably not
reprimand
a
that.
sporting penalty.
Amber JJ, hi Amber, has just said the dog face makes me giggle. That's you, Nick. That's Nick down there who has a good camera as well. Just a reminder, Mark Preston is joining us in the commentary box later on for the E-Prix as well. The Techeetah team principal, I almost said former, but Techeetah are coming back in 2024, and their previous driver, Jean-Eric Verne, has come to a stop on the track. Coming out of the
Well, he's
Forest
letting them
Sol.
through now, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's a bit dangerous. The white flag goes out for that, but you're not allowed to stop on a live motor racing circuit unless you've got a problem, so that's a bit cheeky there
It's a
from
nice
Jean-Eric.
big gap. Because
Yeah.
remember, Peraltada's a full speed corner, so he's got to stop before he goes in there. We'll listen in.
Next to behind Bohemi will be a good gap.
Big gap after Bohemi, I think he said as well. So Bohemi would get the good gap there. But that's a bit cheeky in my book. He's still third, Buemi second. It's nice to see Sebastian Buemi back up there. He's had a horrible Gen 2, let's face it, as the checker flag comes out for the session to end. He's had a horrible Gen 2. Gen 3 now with a whole new team with Envision. Can he get back up there as well? And this is Da Costa coming across the line. Lotterer still on top. Da Costa from P5 breaks his way through into the duels with a second place. He's a 10th down, 99 thousandths off the pace of Lotterer. Buemi still in third position, just about. Degrassi goes into second in that Mahindra. So the Mahindra still quick despite it being 11th out.
Puts Vern out of the duels.
Vern's in trouble. Rast's out. He goes P6. Frines is P9 as well. Across the line then, that's the Avalanche Andretti. So that would be Lotterer. Taking the top spot, now crossing the line for the Neo, and that was Sete Cameron not making it. So despite being fast in practice, he gets knocked out. Fenestras goes up into third in that Nissan.
Ooh.
Brilliant job there. That's put Da Costa on the mark. Buemi's nearly out of it. Buemi goes second, 26 thousandths off the pace of Lotterer. The top four separated by less than a tenth of a second. Correction, the top five separated by less than that. And that's all she wrote. Lotterer, Buemi, Degrassi and Fenestras go through. And starting from the fifth row back is Da Costa and Vern.
Still P1. Only one car too close and still P1 looking good. Yeah, that's P1, mate. Really good job. Really good job.
Well, I didn't expect that.
None of the two DS cars made it through, so all the people who were bigging up DS just a few minutes ago, like I was, looking a bit embarrassed now.
It's Lotterer, Buemi, Degrassi and Fenestras going through. That Nissan, that was coming out of nowhere. Fenestras has been struggling all weekend long, and now he's just done that. Fantastic run as well. And Lotterer, ever the bridesmaid in Formula E, as well, more second places than anybody else, might just get a top run here.
Well, I think Fenestras was struggling. He wasn't like at the very, very back of the timesheets or anything. He certainly wasn't like, setting headline lap times, but he was putting the practice in. He's still a rookie, remember? But yeah, I agree. Very impressive lap in the Nissan. And we'll have to see, because it definitely feels a bit mixed up, because we got the customer Porsche in the Andretti that looks quite good. We got the Nissan, we got the Mahindra of Degrassi. What was the other car that got through?
Buemi, Lotterer.
Buemi and the customer Jaguar, of course. So, yeah, and like you say, great to see Buemi back on form, as it were. So, certainly, I think we were talking about an FEZ show the other week, that he didn't actually have that bad a season with Nissan. It's just that the Nissan had sort of stopped development to focus on Gen 3, and now we see why with that lap from Fenestras.
Oh, radio from Fenestras.
Second qualified, so we will race Lotterer.
Ooh.
Yeah, because this is part of the duels,
I'm saying
of
that
course.
a lot, aren't I?
Yeah, you really are.
I sound intrigued in qualifying.
What did you make of that one then, Nick?
Formula E's back. 5 cars with left in the 10th. It's exactly what we want, isn't it?
Absolutely, and now I've got...
John O'Givern, black and white flag.
Unsportsmanlike behaviour then. Thought that might be coming, and he's going to have to get out of the car now to go through.
Unsportsmanlike behaviour for Jeff? Never.
Trying to write down the results on my new qualifying tracker is difficult this year because the pen is too gel for the actual results. Anyway, Ed, talk us through the results.
Okay then, so
When they
at
come up.
the end of the Group A of qualifying, that was, of course, the session topped by... Oh, who was it? It was
Lotterer.
Andre
Oh, there you
Lotterer
go.
in the Avalanche Andretti. Now I can finally see the time, so I'm not having to remember them. There's a nice little picture of Andre with the finger being held up there. So he was 113.405, 0.026 ahead of Sebastian Buemi, then Lucas Degrassi and Sasha Fenestras, all separated by a tenth from Lotterer. It was Da Costa, who was behind Da Costa? Sete Kamara, Bird, Rast, Gunther,
Yeah.
Jev, of course, who we're looking at the screen now.
This
Frines.
is Jeff.
Those were all the drivers that missed out.
Yeah, this is Jeff coming to a stop. Nick, your thoughts on this one as well? Because he's come to a full stop on that track.
Well, I would imagine that would be what the black and white flag would be for, because surely that would have brought out a yellow flag, which would have slowed down drivers who were on a lap.
I'll tell you what, compared to the normal
Definitely
entry...
feels, by the way,
Yeah, go on.
like Sam Bird was impacted by not getting any running in FP2.
Yeah.
Because it definitely looked like he was about 7/10 off for quite a few of those laps, wasn't he, at the end?
And he was struggling a lot during FP1 as well, constantly running off down at turn number 1 as well. I just realised, however, I've made my qualifying tracker with 12 rows for 24 cars, but I forgot we lost a team. So just before the season started.
Techeetah.
Yeah, Techeetah there.
Try not to mix up the DS Penske for
Yes.
now.
Yeah. Well,
it's on sabbatical DS Techeetah, or just Techeetah now.
Techeetah now, yeah. And so much so that the green light's gone on, by the way, for Group B to go out there. We'll tell you who's in that in a second. But we've got Mark Preston joining the commentary later, and he has never seen a Formula E race on television. He's always been involved in some capacity. So this is going to be something new for him to join the commentary box.
100 races with Team Aguri and Techeetah.
100 races, and now he's joining the broadcast side of things. That's very nice indeed. So that's later on as well. Group B's going out there as well. Nico Muller, Jake Dennis, Stoffel Van Dorn, Nick Cassidy, Mitch Evans, Oliver Rowland, Eduardo Mortara, Jake Hughes, Dan Tictum, Norman Natter and Pascal Verline all heading out there. I'm going to try and catch up now on the YouTube chat quickly as well. Adam says North Carolina is in the USA, as I've got the team radio graphic blaring in my ears as well. Cameron's dad, who follows us over from Cameron Dance in the PSGL League as well, says, don't know how you still have a voice, Josh. It never goes. It's had a month off to sort of rejuvenate, and now I literally said to Megan last night, I sort of don't want to start again, because there's so much. I was enjoying the break, but I'm sort of into the swing of it now. Marco444 says, why does it take longer for a Gen 3 car to complete a lap in Mexico? Isn't a Gen 3 car faster than Gen 2? Ed, you can probably explain the best why this track layout is different compared to what we had in Gen 2.
Well, the biggest difference is towards the end of Gen 2, we didn't have the chicane at turns 8, 9 and 10, essentially, as Mortara starts his flying lap. Which is good for him to sort of get his confidence back after his crash in FP2. But there's obviously that added chicane, which is going to add a bit of time to the lap because it's there mainly for regen purposes, but also possibly to keep the speed down on the back straight. In terms of, because we did see that was where Evans had his post-session incident after FP1 yesterday. And we're just looking at on screen at Mortara negotiating that chicane now. Does it pretty neat and tidy there.
Just
right
getting the
up to
rear
the
out,
wall on
wasn't it?
exit.
Yeah.
But obviously that's adding a bit of time to the lap. Also, we got the hand-cooked tyres, which are pretty hard compound, but the teams are still getting on top of at this stage, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get the best lap times out of it, although they have added some lovely red and blue stripes on the grooves of the tyre. Reminds me of some of the old, I think F1 did it at Fuji one year or something.
Yeah, the green ring, didn't they?
2008.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was fantastic.
And a couple other times as well where they've done that. The Bridgestone, whatever. But the other thing is that I think we're very early on in the Gen 3 development cycle, and if you remember, Gen 2 at the beginning was not. It was definitely a big jump over the Gen 1 cars, because the Gen 1 cars were mainly designed just to not fall apart, essentially.
Yeah.
And so they last the whole. And they were extremely reliable, so Williams Advanced Engineering, who are doing the batteries here, did a very good job with that Gen 1 car. Yeah, I think those are the three reasons. So there's still a lot of development to go. The tyres are really hard, and the chicane means there's a bit too many corners essentially to negotiate, which adds a significant amount of lap time. So I think they're doing well to be as fast as they are, and you're really going to notice it on the straights, not necessarily on the power delivery, because they're going to be squirrely, which is going to be great fun for us to watch, and it has been so far.
Yeah.
As we've got Roland attacking that chicane, where he crashed yesterday.
Had a slide!
And
Big
the exit,
slide!
Yeah, the exit is a bit brutal as NATO
Dennis.
skips the chicane behind him.
Oh, was it Norman Natter? Yeah.
Like NATO, because
Yeah.
it was the Nissan, I think.
Lots of smoke coming round as well, and trying to get through. Yeah, Nick, you've done the chicane layout as well in the ERC before we had the 5-6 part of the track. How different is that chicane in terms of having to brake and regen? Is it an overtaking opportunity, or is it now just there purely for regen ability to keep 30% of battery power in the car?
It's a very difficult chicane, especially in the Gen 2 cars, because you are lifting, braking while turning to get into it. But I think it's mostly there for regen now. I don't think we're going to be seeing too many overtakes going in, especially with the speed they're going to be going in these new Gen 3 cars.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. I'm hoping that we're going to have a lot more overtakes, but it does look like regen as well. Just something to talk about that isn't in this weekend, but will be coming up later on in the season. I understand at 3 different races. The attack mode, the attack charge
The
as well
attack
coming up.
charge.
Yeah, the attack mode
we go.
charge, where you come in, you have a 30-second pit stop, and you get 4 extra kilowatts of energy added in those 30 seconds. Then that benefits you in your second attack mode, isn't it? So it's a bit like the fan boost system as well, isn't it, Ed? But a lot better in terms of the fact that it's not predetermined by the fans.
No, but it has been a bit controversial because
Yeah.
the technology hasn't been there to have it at the start of the season. As we see Dennis just having to negotiate Evans on his flying lap, I think.
Yeah, it's all messy as he comes into turn 12 as well.
And Evans just completely misses the chicane as well. So this is Group B is the beelining the chicane group, it would seem.
It's getting a
you
bit
think
messy.
with all that extra rubber, there'd be more grip, not less. But anyway, so as we see the first couple of times being laid down with 6 minutes left to go, Tictum and Hughes currently are topping the group at the moment. Tictum, yeah, has been really on it this weekend in the Neo 333. So let's see if he can do what he did in Seoul, remember, and got into the duels. So the only time that horrible Season 8
Yes.
Neo 333 was able to get into the duels was in Tictum's hands.
White and red
Dennis is on the radio.
Dennis's radio.
Fully blocked me by like 1 second.
Yeah, already done, mate. Already done.
Reported
Fully
then for
blocked
Dennis.
me.
Yeah.
He's saying about Evans, yeah. As we
And-
see Pascal Verline, who topped FP2, starting his lap. Oh, I love that on board where you can,
Great angle.
facing back at Verline's helmet, you can just see the wall on the inside. He's slowed right down, actually, because that's for the corner, obviously.
Yeah, you're seeing on your screen now Norman Nato cutting the chicane at turn 9. It's appeared twice on our timing graphics up here as well, so there's more and more problems coming through.
Sounds like NATO might not be fully comfortable with the brakes then, because
Yes.
Evans did the same thing as well.
And this is Jake Hughes being followed by one of the
That's Verline.
Verline in the Porsche, yeah. And this was him having a little bit of a slide coming to turn 1. Look at that.
Oh,
Hand
he's
up.
gesticulating.
Yeah. Verline not happy in that Porsche, where 12 months ago, or around about 12 months ago, he won his first race in Formula E after Mexico season 6, I think, or season 5. He lost out to Lucas de Grassi at the line. And then he finally got it back last season with a Porsche 1-2 as well. Lotterer still the bridesmaid, though, and can't seem to find anything out of that. But he's topped Group A at the moment as well as they come back through. Just catching up with the chat as well. Adam says, I'm going to predict that pole sitter will come from this group. Could do. And my money's on Jake Hughes
Dan
and Van
Tictum
Dorn.
for pole.
Oh, you're going Dan Tictum? Really, Ed? Okay.
Why not?
Nick, are you going for pole?
Ooh, Lotterer.
Okay, that's a brave bet. I'll stay. I'll wait until
Lotterer
after.
pole doesn't seem too outlandish given his qualifying record in the duels.
Yeah, but could he take a win? Could Lotterer
Never.
win? No. Yeah, he's the bridesmaid.
Impossible. Yeah.
I mean,
It's like
Yeah.
Hulkenberg getting on the podium.
Being of which, it's surprising to see Dennis so far down in Group B at the
Yeah.
moment. I would have expected him to be right up there, especially after Lotterer topped the Group A, so we'll have to see. But it certainly looks pretty competitive so far, although not quite as tight as Group A at the moment, as we see Mortara going through the last corner. Verline set purple first sector.
I mean, a big old slide as well as Mortara, and stays therefore in 6th position. 4 tenths down on the board.
Wasn't it Mortara that spun on the line here?
Yes, last year, wasn't it? In quality?
In the duel for pole position,
Yeah.
so that handed it to Verline in the end.
Speaking of Verline, fast sector 1 out of anybody. Jake Dennis is looking quick actually in that second sector,
There we go,
28.693.
just as I was
Yeah.
saying that, yes.
And Verline,
I did predict Jake Dennis to win the championship, and oh, there we go.
113. Go on, Nick.
2 tenths. It's very impressive.
Now this is getting tasty, isn't it, to come through? Let's have the radio.
Radio.
Push again, that's P1.
And he's locked up coming into turn 3 as
Saying
well.
push again, so you almost didn't expect to have to go on a push lap there, and he kind of locked up into turn 3 there.
Oh, but there's so much traffic.
Yeah, he's backed off, I think.
Yeah. Too much.
Probably going to be enough to get through, you'd think.
Well, this is something as well that... Why did that get blocked? Sorry, Adam. It's interesting to note that we haven't seen them come into the pit lane, have we, and bolt on another set of tyres. The Hankook tyres, there's only 2 per event, the same as the Michelins. But compared to the usual tyre switching, the group stages have all been done on one set of tyres, which means as soon as you leave the pit lane, you can just go for it for the entire 12 minutes as well. It's no longer needing to change tyres because they're not cooling down properly.
Yeah, that was a weird thing about the qualifying system, in the groups especially, where we had so much downtime where they would just change tyres completely, which felt a bit antithetical to the whole idea of having these tyres that you can last in the missions could in theory have lasted the whole season essentially. Well, they're essentially these sort of Pilot Sport EV road car sort of tyres, and I think Hankook have gone for a similar, even more pronounced version of that philosophy by making a very, very hard tyre that gives extremely consistent performance. So, and it makes a whole lot of sense. That's the whole reason why they really don't switch to different tyres when it rains, essentially. You have an all-weather sort of tyre. Let's just look at Hughes starting another lap and Verline letting him through.
Yes.
No doubt gesticulating further at him.
It's very much busy out there. It's rush hour here in Mexico City.
Only 11 cars, but they're all on the same part of the track, aren't they?
22 later on. It's going to be a fantastic race. Mark Preston, who's the Techeetah team principal, I'm going to mention him once again and keep plugging it, because if Lotterer does manage to win that race, how brilliant would it be to have his former team principal on the commentary at the same time?
I'm sure there'd be a bit of a twinge of sadness that he didn't get his first win in a Techeetah.
Yes.
He came close a few times. Hong Kong Season 5 comes to mind. Santiago Season 4 hitting the back of Vern in the other Techeetah.
I'm glad you...
Certainly a few close calls.
Yeah, you mentioned that to Mark later. I'll stay away from the ones where they make contact.
That's why I'm mentioning it now. Otherwise not here.
DaCosta and Vern making contact in New York as well with... Was it Massa? It was, wasn't it? Oh, Roland's backed out of his lap. He was 9/10 down anyway. Now look at it. He's coasting on the racing line, coming through the Follow Soul section as well. So absolutely ridiculous there because there's traffic coming up behind him. Gavin Jones says, thanks for this, guys. 5 a.m. Sunday. Good morning for New Zealand. Good morning too. Randall says, how do I watch quali in the US? It's on CBS Sports over there as well. So I don't know what CBS is under over there, into what online platform it would be on. Discovery Plus in the UK, Channel 4 Sport on YouTube as well. Here, stay here because we've got the commentary and everything behind. There's another one I've just missed out on as well. Rick says, amazing video, rooting for Van Dorn or Hughes with a big arm pump as well with 2 orange hearts. Checkered flag is out, the session's over. So Dennis, Tinctum, Hughes and Evans, the top 4 at the moment.
Purple in Sector 1.
22.444, mega lap time. Oh, big slide coming into turn 12, almost having to correct itself into the Forest Stadium, which is unlike Formula 1. It loops back around in on itself as well and goes out the entrance to the stadium and then goes round the old Peraltada, which I still don't know why Formula 1 don't use, because it's pretty much the same speed now as Formula 1, over 200 mile an hour through this part of the track, so it should be doable. Tinctum then second at the moment. Can he take anything away from Dennis's time? No, he was actually down by 3/10 on his own best. Cassidy's gone into P5, so the Envision guys don't get through into Group B, into the duels either with both cars. Tinctum stays second, Dennis first, Verline fourth.
Verline just snuck in ahead of Evans.
And Van Dorn can't do it in the DS Penske. That's a big shock for Stoffel Van Dorn after Penske looked so quick in pre-season. They're out the first mark. And across the line, Cassidy sixth, Mortara eighth after hitting the wall this morning. Roland, I don't think he's improving out there either. Cross line goes Mitch Evans, and the Jaguar stays in fifth position. And Roland's into the pit lane. So it's Dennis, Tinctum, Hughes and Verline going through into the duels. Well, that was a bit of a surprise.
James Barkley and Jaguar faced like a thunder there, and he had to sort of put it on for the camera when he noticed he was on TV. But yeah, great recovery by Jake Dennis there, and Tinctum getting the Neo 333 in 2 weekends in a row, if you count Sale sort of consecutively. So there's Tinctum's former teammate Oliver Turvey in the DS Penske garage
let's
as well.
hear from Dan.
Here's Tinctum's radio.
Well done, guys. Redeemed from practice. Nice job.
Big cheers.
And to be fair, that's well deserved, because Neo have been begging for Gen 3 to come. It got delayed a season, and they were nowhere last year. Had some flush in the pan races, but Neo looked quick yesterday in practice 1, looked quick this morning in practice 2. Tinctum's only gone and put it second in the duel, in the group stages going into the duels. Fantastic.
Yeah, well, they certainly got great people in that team, but the problem was they had such a huge setback at the beginning of Gen 2 when the team got sold from Neo to the Liesheng Racing, the free entity, essentially. And so that was such a big setback for them. And I feel a bit for Oliver Toby because he did all, like, 7 or 8 seasons with that team, waiting for a decent car, and then as soon as they've made one, they replaced him with Seto Camera. But hey, that's the way it goes. Seto Camera is going spare, so I don't blame them for picking him up, because he's a brilliant driver, although Tictum certainly is the one with all the attention on him now that he's got through the duels.
Here's the results,
And,
Ed.
we'll have to see how far he can get. Right, so Jake Dennis emulates what Lotterer did in Group A, tops the group with a 113.074, 2 temps ahead of Dan Tictum, and then Jake Hughes right behind him, and Pascal Verline, the final driver to make it into the duels, 0.285 behind. Then it's Mitch Evans, Nick Cassidy, Eduardo Mortara. Disappointingly, reigning champion Van Dorn didn't make it. Who else didn't make it?
Muller,
Norman Nato didn't make it.
And Roland.
Oliver Rowland and Nico Muller.
Not bad then, Nick. What do you expect coming through into the next half then? Groups up next, and Duel A will see Lotterer versus Verline. That's an interesting little call, isn't it? Who do you think's going to go there?
I think Andretti are looking very strong, so I'm going to say Lotterer.
Very good, Ed.
But it's going to be close.
Well, we had this duel last year when they were teammates at Porsche.
in this
Verline
race,
was
as
victorious. There's certainly a bit of metal, because Lotterer said after the race that because I didn't qualify ahead of Pascal, I didn't start ahead, and therefore I had to hold position. So there was a little bit of sort of, I had to do what I had to do. But now, technically, they're not in the same team anymore, so there shouldn't really be any kind of team orders, regardless of where they qualify. So it's hard to say which way it's going to go, but I would say I think Verline is probably still going to just about have the edge.
So this is looking good. Pascal won his first race here, as I mentioned earlier on as well. And we've got an interview down there with Neo, and they're with Karun.
All right, listen, that is a great...
And he's
Vincent Wang.
he's left him. Yeah, he's left. So we've come to that very late. Let's hope Nikki has got someone, because we've got 5 minutes to fill here as well. Coming forward. Nikki has.
Joining me now is the team principal of DS Penske, Jay Penske. Jay, a bit of an unexpected
Jay
qualifying
Penske doing his
session
best
there.
Tom Cruise and Top Gun
You guys
impression.
are obviously one of the favourites at the moment. Neither of the drivers have got through to the duels.
Yeah, very frustrating. After 2 good practices, the team was very prepared. We couldn't get a great track gap during qualifying, and unfortunately, neither driver could put together a full lap. If you look at the ultimate laps, we were quick in each of the sectors, but couldn't put one together, and unfortunately, we'll start in the 6th and looks like 7th rows today.
And in terms of getting the cars ready for
Compared
the
to
race,
last
are you going
season,
to make
that's
any
about what
changes to the
Penske should
setup,
be
or are you
there.
confident you've got that right?
I think we're pretty close. We're certainly in the window. The team from DS has done such a great job in the factory to make these ready to race this weekend, but we just got to put a lap together in qualifying. We'll start a bit back today, but we'll be ready to race.
That's what we like to hear. All eyes are on you guys. Thanks very much, Jay Penske.
Well, this is on board with the DS Automobiles Penske coming through on their lap head, and it was a little bit of a mistake run from the start.
Yeah, well, by the sounds of things, it looked like they were kept getting held up in when they weren't being held up in traffic, they were holding up other drivers like Sete Kamara in traffic. So a little bit unfortunate there, but it looked like Maserati had the same issue as well. So it certainly seems like traffic's just a big thing here at Mexico, as well as like track evolution as well. We've seen in previous years that the Group 4 drivers had a massive advantage in the old format before we switched to the duels.
Well,
So anyway, here they are.
yeah, go on, Ed, talk us through them.
All right, fair enough.
I've just
So
got to write down.
quarterfinals. Number 1 will be Degrassi versus Buemi. Then it'll be Fenestraz versus Lotterer, Hughes versus Tictum, and then Verline versus Dennis. So we could get Lotterer versus Verline if Verline can beat Dennis and Lotterer can beat Fenestraz. That might only be the final though.
Yeah,
Is that
Degrassi Buemi is going to be interesting.
Have they
Of
changed?
course, yeah.
Can't drive into each other like Battersea.
There's the tiniest bit of metal between those two.
Okay, it looks like they've changed the group stages because Degrassi and Buemi finished in Group A. So that's they've changed that around to compare to
They
how...
have. It's a new
yeah.
rule for this season, so it's not the top from each group face each other. It's the overall times, I think,
Yeah, which makes it harder and harder.
from the top 4.
So I need a new sheet of paper. It's coming through. So that's duel 1 now. So I'll fix that later in editing for my notes as they come back through. Degrassi says Jay Jr. as well. Rene says Pascal is always strong in this circuit. That is correct as well. So I'm just writing down the top times now as well. I can't now. So yeah. Well, the new rules keep changing. This is the head-to-head they've had previously. Degrassi has won out of the Boeing one time, and the Season 2 champion versus the Season 3
he
champion.
He had a better car then.
Yes, he did.
Than Buemi. By some margin.
So it's Buemi. I'm going to write this. Buemi versus Degrassi.
All right. Here they are.
So, honestly, my notes in the commentary box, I've set it up for one way, and then they've gone and put it the other way, and I've forgotten about that. So it's Degrassi versus Buemi first off, and they're getting ready to leave track now as well. There they are.
Murky colour on top of the Mahindra that I've tried to replicate in Lego. It's quite hard, because they do sort of... There's that weird lattice shape with the butterfly logo that's all over the front of the cockpit.
Who do you want
it's
open?
quite hard to do that.
Whose radio do you want? Who's going out first? Well, Buemi's going out second, so do you want Degrassi's radio?
Oh, well, I prefer Buemi's, but you know.
All right, Buemi's right above him, so I'll hit Buemi. So we've opened up his Buemi's team radio on our monitor. So if we hear anything,
I've realised something actually. From
go
what
on.
Josh T was saying in the chat. It says top is Joshua Burch, middle is Edward Hunter, bottom is Nick Cowood. So I'm kind of sandwiched in between you two guys,
yeah.
which I find hilarious.
It's going to be
middle bunk.
It's more difficult later though when we bring in Mark Preston as well. We've got to move the entire
course.
commentary box around as well.
Yeah,
but
I might have to disappear so there's space for Mark.
Well, Mark's going to go below me, and I think you and...
of course, no one goes above you, Josh.
No, well, it's not that. It's fact I'm locked in. So I think Mark's going below, then you're below Mark, and then Nick's alongside you, Ed. So I think that's how it's going to work. But either way, the lap times are about to begin because Lucas Degrassi is out there on the circuit now and starts his lap time. You can see him on the driver track. We'll update you on the timings as they go. Degrassi enters turn number 1, hard on the brakes, flicks the car in. Surprised they haven't changed that actually, so the start later is going to be fun. Buemi's looking good. Norman Natto's under investigation for pit lane overspeeding as well. Fenestraz and Lotterer are next up. Buemi starts his lap time. At the moment, Degrassi's done a 22.478 in the first sector. And what's it from Buemi? He's up. Buemi's up by 79 thousandths. So that's looking good as they come back through.
Yeah, look neat and tidy from both of them. Not too much to choose at the moment. Degrassi certainly throwing it in at the chicane as we're seeing. And Buemi a little bit further behind, about to do the same. And yeah, certainly look through turn 1, they look pretty similar.
Staying together. Buemi into the Forest Soul. Degrassi's already at the exit of it though as well. Degrassi's a 10th down as well. Sector 2, Degrassi was faster, 28.768. Buemi was a 28.8, so it's a fractions different at the moment. Up to the line they come then. Degrassi will be first out the Peraltada. He will be the benchmarker. Cross the line now, and it is a 1:13.081. Buemi's still ahead. We'll cut to him now with the team radio open as well. Buemi's lost a 10th coming through the Forest Soul into the Peraltada. Buemi's losing time in that division as well. Across the line they come then. Who's going to go through to the semi-finals? By 19! Wow! 19 thousandths Degrassi does it. Buemi lost a lot of time there, Ed, in that middle sector.
I think it might have even been the final sector a little bit slower as well. Yeah, just absolutely nailed that one, Degrassi, and Buemi kind of probably could have held that one together if he if he had just kept the second sector a little cleaner.
This is Degrassi.
First duel of the year.
200s quicker.
200.
Through is the
So Lotterer now next up.
Actually, it'll be Fenestraz first.
And
then
Fenestraz, yeah. There's the battle. They haven't done a head-to-head before, though. Fenestraz has had an E-Prix start. Only one to his name, though, as he made his debut back in Seoul in the end of Season 8 in 2022. Let's see what this one's going to be. Tell you what, Nick, you were picking Lotterer. Do you reckon he could do it as he starts his lap time with Fenestraz?
I think he'll beat Fenestraz, yeah. Fenestraz is almost a rookie, so you nearly expect it, but don't want to put it.
I think Fenestraz has done well to get this far.
He has. Lotterer starts his lap time then. First sector time for Fenestraz is a 15 as well. Actually, it's a 22.629. on the board. Is it going to be a
Look
good
like
enough lap
Lotterer
time?
locked the rears going into turn 1.
Oh no! Yeah, look at that. It's cost him 0.2 of a second. Nick, that's insane. But he's catching him.
He's got all the work to do now in the rest of the lap.
Oh.
Yeah, Fenestras has really got to keep it neat and tidy then. And he's got this first duel in the bag then.
Lotterer's it is his first duel. He got knocked out in the group stages in Seoul as well. After doing an impressive performance. Look at that. Lotterer's got ahead by the time they exit. The 9-10 chicane. Fenestras was coming through the Forest Soul. Now he's into the Peraltada. Lotterer is faster. 28.6. He's 0.2 faster than Fenestras in the middle sector. Cross the line then for Sasa Fenestras in the Nissan. It's a 113.1. It's a 113.220 on the board. And here comes Andre Lotterer. Cross the line now. The timing screen graphics have gone. He's done it. 113.176. So Lotterer does go through despite that error in turn 1. That's good.
Yeah, brilliant sectors 2 and 3 for Lotterer, and that really shows the strength of the Porsche package here in Mexico.
You never doubted him, Nick, did you?
I was confident with the prediction the whole way through up to turn 1.
Turn 1 is the downfall, as it might be later on. Norman Nato under investigation, as you said, but Dennis and Verline next up. This is Andre Lotterer.
Box. Well done, mate. You will be against Degrassi.
And
Well, actually, it's Hughes and Tictum. Oh, look, it's Alexandra Gag coming through as well.
Alejandro, yeah. Not Alexandro.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
my fault
who
there.
that is.
Hughes and Tictum is next up. British as well. McLaren versus Neo.
Hughes, who's never been in a duel, and Tictum, who's only been in one duel before, so...
Tictum, though, best starting grid, if I can get to my notes quick enough. His best grid is 7th, so that means, correct me if I'm wrong, he got eliminated in his first duel. 7th or 8th, so he got,
That's to be expected in the Season 8 Neo 333, but here we go. Here's the ER9 going through the first corner now as Hughes is going through the hairpin. And looks pretty similar, but the Nissan McLaren looks like it's got a bit of an edge in the hands of Hughes at the moment.
Yeah, Hughes sliding it a little bit. Here comes Tictum in the Neo into 5 and 6, then coming up towards 9
and
and 10.
remember, even if you get knocked out, you need to make sure you're ahead of the other people who get knocked out. So still getting a decent time in the on the board is important.
Yeah, the grid segments all get set up as well, and who's faster compared to normal as well. Hughes coming out the last corner, opened up his radio in case he says anything. Tictum is catching him though as he comes into Forest Sol. Hughes is exiting Forest Sol, coming up towards the line. And we're going to stay with Tictum. Hughes' time. Here he is, cross the line in quarterfinal number 3. Zach Brown watching on. Can Jake Hughes do anything about it across the line? It's a 112.788. And Tictum is catching him as he comes out of the last corner.
0.172 in one sector.
Yes.
It's mostly one corner.
It's not going to do it, and he doesn't. Tictum stays second.
Valiant effort though, just to get just under 13 seconds there for Tictum.
McLaren,
1 minute 13.
McLaren go through then to the semi-finals. It'll still be Degrassi versus Lotterer though, and then it'll be Hughes versus whoever finishes the final of this as well. Let's hear from Hughes now.
Have we not had Pascal Verline versus Dennis yet, have we?
7, Tictum 12.9.
No, it's Verline and Dennis now as well in the final one. So,
They seem to
Verline.
be trying to skip the final duel in the quarterfinals. They just had to swap out Lotterer there. for Jake Dennis.
I'm having to write them down quickly as well to make sure I'm not getting mistakes and put in the comms box as well. There they are on the Legos. Fantastically done to get those Gen 3 cars ready, by the way, Ed. Fantastic.
Yeah, annoyingly, Andretti announced a sponsor before I had time to print out a sticker for it on the weekend. But anyway, it looks like Verline's going first then.
Yep. And which one did you say, Nick, by the way? Do you see winning out this one? Verline or Dennis?
Say Dennis.
Well, we'll open up Dennis's radio.
Well, I went for Verline early, didn't I? When you mistakenly said it was Verline versus Lotterer. So
Yeah.
I think, even though I think Jake Dennis is going to win the championship, I think Verline's going to win this duel here as well.
It's going to be very interesting there. This is deciding who goes into the semi-final. We've got 4 more. Well, we've got 2 more semi-finals. Then we've got a final coming up after as well. So another 10-minute break after this. Oh, a lot of wheel spin. That's a lot there as well from Dennis, and here comes Verline.
That was Verline for
Yeah.
chicane, not Dennis. Dennis actually seems to be
Here he is.
projected ahead by 2 tenths now.
Trying to work out where Dennis is on the track, actually. He's coming out of the 9-10 chicane, which always looks different because it looks like the exit of 5 and 6. So you've got to second guess yourself coming through. Verline now exiting Forosol, comes to the line.
4 tenths.
Oof.
I think you're going to win this,
Yeah.
this one. Nick.
It's a 1:13.031 for Pascal Verline. Dennis seems to be quicker. Can he get anything towards it? Dennis fastest sector 1. Dennis fastest sector 2. Where is he across the line? We're still watching Verline. Here is
Ooh,
Dennis
he's
now.
Lost a lot of time.
He has. Not looking good. Catching. Verline's going to be close. It's going to be mega close across the line. Oh! By 29 thousandths, Dennis gets ahead of Verline. That was insanely close.
Both of them slower than than Tictum in the final group, who didn't make it through.
I think Dennis must have had an issue getting the power down out of the stadium, and that would have, because he lost, what, 3 tenths just through the last corner.
Yeah, it was just through the Peraltada, wasn't it?
That last corner, we saw Mortara and Rast have problems.
So 5th on the grid. Here's Dennis's radio.
15. Nice.
We need to check the front wing.
Oh,
Smash the
Oh,
ball
he
out
had
of the
contact.
Dennis
You're saying
hit.
smash
Yeah.
the bollard.
I wonder if that's coming out. Where could that have been?
Chicane.
Yeah, 9
Because
and
we
10.
didn't see him going through the chicane. We saw Verline going through, but
Yeah.
not Dennis.
So we look down on Mexico City at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. The quarterfinals done.
Shouldn't
Buemi,
look down at a whole city. Be, lifting it up, if anything.
yeah. Buemi beat Degrassi. Fenestraz beat Lotter. Tictum beat Hughes.
Buemi didn't beat Degrassi. Degrassi
Sorry,
beat Buemi.
I'm reading the wrong. They've highlighted that wrong. They've highlighted them. That shouldn't be right. Yeah, so it's Lotter versus Degrassi, and then it's Dennis versus Hughes as well in the
They
next
should do
two
what they do in
groups.
Robot Wars. There's like a skull and crossbones next
Yeah.
to them when they're eliminated.
Because when that looks highlighted to me, that it says Buemi and Fenestraz go through. It's the new
No,
graphics.
the one that's highlighted is the one that's it's the one they've kind of faded. It.
Faded
They
out.
put a
That's
little,
out. Yeah.
opacity dark filter over it. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we need better graphical understandings. I like your skull and crossbone idea as well. That'll
Well,
work
that's not
out.
really my idea. That's stolen from Robot Wars.
Let's go down to Nikki.
Sasha Fenestras, what a way to impress the new team. You've got everyone talking about you already. Through to the Jules in your first qualifying session. How was that?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a good start. It's a long season, but it's good starting this way. We had quite a lot of problems early on FP2, FP1. I didn't even thought to get through this. So that's why we didn't even practice 350 kilowatts, because we were like, if we get through, we will be happy, and that's the case. So yeah, it's good. We nearly won again Lotter for just a little bit, but it's a good start. Now let's keep it up like this.
And just put us in the driving seat for a moment. What does it feel like to go head-to-head to Andre Lotterer, a very established driver in Formula E?
Well, it's crazy. Just the names, when you say, racing against Dagosta, Jev, and all of that, it's so good. But yeah, the level is there. It's super high, and of course it's frustrating in a way because I know where I lost the time. But of course he also. But that's, I guess, his Formula E is just finding your limit and not trying to overdo it, which is extremely hard, especially with the Gen 3 cars. So it's a good start. Let's see what the race can do now, and yeah, let's keep it up.
So what's the plan now? You've got a couple of hours, not long, to rest up before the race.
Just finish the race. I mean, my target is just take it as much as experience as possible. So do the least mistake possible. Hopefully we can score some points. That would be amazing. But yeah, finishing the race and points would be a dream.
Excited? Nervous?
Not nervous. Well, a little bit nervous, yeah, but extremely excited. That's for sure.
A little bit of nerve is always good.
Good nervous, good stress.
All the best. Thanks very much, Sasha Fenestras.
Nikki Shields down there in the pit lane. Let's catch up with some of the chat quickly as well. Hello to Indonesia from MHD as well. Hello. Astral, please.
112 people watching, I think, at the
Yes.
moment.
Hello. This is big. Everyone's motorsport hungry, I see. Over 13.
Well, also it's first race of Gen 3 as well.
That's
People
true,
are excited to hear what's going on.
1,397.
Oh, there's the bollard. That's in the middle of the stadium.
So-
The Ferrisol Stadium, yeah. On the outside, did he hit that just next to where attack mode is?
It's
Opposite.
he's
where
lost it.
Ah, look, the end plate disappeared, and Dennis was still able to win that duel. So that is quite impressive.
Oh, that's not good. They
We'll
haven't got many
definitely
spares.
need a new wing.
Yeah. Although, Yeah, actually, is it
Look
perfect?
at the top bridge of that wing flapping around.
It's a
like,
perfect cut, actually. It looks like a bit of your Lego car, actually. So I reckon they could.
Let's do.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I switched Lotter in because I'm getting ready
Yeah.
for the next duel. But here you go. This is what it looks like with
Yeah.
that bit missing.
Do you
They're all. It's a sort of little triangle thing, flag
Yeah.
thing. With this little Hankook logo on it. It's the same on the airbox wing and the same on the rear wing. It's the same piece.
They must
So
have.
it's me recycling,
Yeah,
just like
well,
the real Gen 3 car.
They must have the ability to then just bolt something on. So I reckon they could repair that. But I think you're right, Nick. A whole new wing for the race.
Yeah, a whole new wing.
Just best. Then repair it in case something goes wrong.
If this
in
was
the
Gen
race.
2, this is doesn't matter. Let's continue on with
Yeah,
that.
get some duct
Those
tape.
cars were basically made of Lego.
Yeah, they
Whack them
were.
into anything and
They
they
did
wouldn't
quite
break.
How can you tell that
Well.
Formula E are got nothing to talk about? Because they're re-showing us the graphic for quarterfinal, semi-final, final. Because it's too long of a gap between the two sessions. Because it's 32 minutes past the hour, and the semi-finals start at 36 minutes past the hour. So we've still got 4 minutes to go, according to the graphics at least.
Well, we need interviews with all the people who got knocked out.
I know. Where's Mark? Where's Mark when we need him? To talk about what's going on now. Actually,
Well, I've just seen a stat that
Oh, go on.
Andre Lotter and Lucas Di Grassi are facing each other in the semi-final duel. They have a combined age of 79 years and 212 days.
Yeah, well, the combined age of this country box is probably almost as big as that.
Possibly so. Yeah. Actually, you're right. Actually, yeah.
Well,
There's-
that's 3 people versus 2 people.
Yes, that's true. Number of
The
times.
maths is not in our favour.
So Lotto's been in the duels 10 times, considering we only had it 16 times last year. That's impressive. No, it was 16 last year, wasn't it? Because this year it's an 18-man calendar. Yeah, we're right there. As it comes back
Actually, a
through.
lot of comments, like Darren Orange says there's no way to watch this in the US, so here we are. So
Oh.
yeah, that really shows the access by like Fox Sports and CBS is not it's behind a paywall, I guess. So it's inevitable, but we'll do the best we can.
Absolutely.
In the absence of a proper car, it's definitely something that actually I wanted to actually talk to Mark Preston because I was going to do an interview with him for Formula E Zone on Tuesday. Originally it was going to be Thursday before the race. Now I have to change all the questions to be after the first race of season 9. Like,
But you've brought him into the commentary
annoying
box.
at all.
You're the reason
But,
Mark will be joining us.
Yeah, but part of it was also that the reason we couldn't do the interview on Thursday is because Mark was busy talking to investors. He didn't say what that was in. Maybe it's for his autonomous car company. And I know Keith Smout is very involved in the the Formula E1, the Powerboat series. He's trying to get his own sort of team started up there, which is very interesting. So, well, I mean, if you're into boats, but I'm not hugely into maritime compared to stuff with 4 wheels on it. But
I tell you what, I'm very hopeful that if Mark enjoys the race today, he comes along for a couple more, and not just Formula E, because he used to work, of course. He was behind Super Aguri, getting in for 100 days as well to make it on the grid in 2007, I think it was.
2006.
2006, thank you. I thought it was a year earlier than I was about to say. Then, of course, he was alongside Adrian Newey in the technical department at McLaren. And, of course, he started off in Arrows, of course, before it went bankrupt in 2002.
Well, the other thing about Arrows is that for Super Aguri, they bought an old Arrows A23 from 2002 and then basically tried to upgrade it to 2006 specifications. And by the end of the season, it was actually a pretty decent car. So that actually shows that the little Leafield team of Arrows, which Super Aguri obviously inherited their base, Arrows wasn't a bad team, actually,
I loved
even
Arrows.
by the end. They just ran out of money because Wilkinshaw had done too many deals with Nigerian princes, like Prince Malik Ibrahim and stuff like that. So,
the thing is, that's true as well. I can't. It's,
and we forget Tom Wilkinshaw. Like, people make fun of him for like Arrows going under, but it's really successful in British touring cars, really successful with TWR with Jaguar at Le Mans, and lots of great motorsport pedigree. And it's a shame that people who only know about Formula One, of course, not that we can accuse any of our Formula E audience of that people who only watch Formula One just associate Tom Wilkinshaw as like a back market failure. I think that's really unfair.
No, absolutely not. Semi-final 1 then, getting underway after a little delay. This is what I mean as well about the fact is that there needs to be a quicker procedure to get these done in under an hour, because now qualifying used to be an hour, now it's an hour 40. So that's a big gap.
Well, considering the safety issues, to be very honest, I'd rather they get it right and wait a few extra minutes just to make sure the cars don't explode or, just go straight on at turn 1.
Red lights.
It does. It ruins the flow a little bit, though.
Yeah, because we've just had to talk for 10 minutes.
Well, it's better that the cars are topped up there.
The green light is on finally, and Lotto and Degrassi will head out onto the track as well. A little bit of a picture freeze there, but we're back up now as well. Track temperature is now at 24 degrees. Air temperature at 15 degrees, 33% humidity. Better than this morning in practice too, when it was 6 degrees track in air, and it was at 90% humidity as well. So it's cleared up massively, and it's turning into a lovely sunny day here. It's weird looking Mahindra and not seeing Dilbag Gill. It's very weird.
Well, to be fair though, I actually really enjoy Frederick Bertrand. I remember I said a tweet that he had big lockup from Andre Lotterer. Is that Lotterer?
Yeah, it's Lotterer locking up on the inside. It's not the Mahindra.
Yeah, but it was interesting because I sort of said about Fred because he was working at the FIA until fairly recently, of course, and he got a lot of criticism for things like the Valencia Fast, the energy crisis, where there was a little bit of a war of words about who was responsible and whatever about that. And I made a comment like, hey, he gets all the blame when it goes wrong that one time, but every other time it's gone right, nobody's noticed. And Fred liked that. So I actually really like Fred. I think he's a very different character to Dilbag Gill. I think he's going to show his emotion in a different way, and I think that's actually good for him. So I think people should be free to be, maybe he runs Mahindra should feel the pressure to be exactly like Dilbag Gill, because I think you'd fail.
We're underway for the duels as well. First sector for Lotterer coming up. It's a 22-2-1-2.
Oh, Degrassi very close to both walls. Big lockup for Lotterer.
He's lost. Yeah, Lotterer's gone wide too. So Degrassi made a mistake at turn 1. Lotterer's made a mistake down at turn 5
Only
and
6. Only a small mistake for Lucas though.
Yeah, we cut away from the camera angle. I thought he was in the wall actually. Then he's still gone through. So Lotterer's there. Yeah, look at Degrassi.
Visual representation of the of the on-screen graphic. Then. So here we go, Lucas, and then we got. Andre.
Yeah, both still close together. Oh, Lotterer's miles ahead of Degrassi. 2.5 tenths.
Other way around.
Yeah, he's got that
Even
back.
With that lockup.
Oh no, look, Degrassi.
Right. Now it's updated.
That shift. So Degrassi locking up at turn 6 is now 1.6 seconds back. So they've both made errors on their lap, but either way they're going to start inside the top front 2 rows of the grid in the top 4. Lotterer crosses the line now in the Avalanche Andretti. And
he's not going to make it 1.6
no, 1:14.5, worst one of the day.
I'd like to change my pole prediction.
Yeah, he locked up at turn 6 this time, not turn 1. Here comes Degrassi, though, to get through to the final with a 1:13.012. Despite the mistake, he's 1.5 seconds faster than Lotterer. Wow!
Oh, that is a turn up.
You saw that coming.
Do we know what the blue lights on the car actually signify? Because Lotterer didn't have them
350. Oh, right.
Oh, did not? Lotterer didn't have the full power.
Lap.
Yeah, because when it flashes magenta, it's attack mode, and when it's blue, it's full power.
Let's go.
But yeah, Lotterer's, there wasn't on Lotterer's car.
Interesting. So
maybe that might have been behind him locking up at 10.8.
Yeah, I was just thinking, was he in harvest mode, do you think? And that's why when he locked up after going so far, it just locked.
Possibly.
Yeah. Certainly seemed uncharacteristic. I guess that's the problem with having to wait so long. You get out that first lap, and if it's not set up correctly, then you've blown it, unfortunately. But now, Dennis versus Jake Hughes then.
Straight on for the next session as well.
I think Dennis can do it.
Yeah, easily into turn 1. The second Avalanche Andretti coming out now as well. Brisking the wall as he comes around turn 2 into the tight left at 3. Accelerate down. 4's a little kink as well. Here comes Jake Hughes though. Finally.
Just waited a while for him to show up there.
He had a slow lap there because Dennis already passed sector 1. 22.464 for Dennis then. Hughes looking very quick as well. In fact, he's quicker in the first mini sector by a 10th. So that's interesting to note on the graphic. Dennis, however, is catching in the middle, so we'll wait for that to change around. And it's not too bad of a lap time for either of them. And look at that, 22,000 separate them. And Hughes was faster in the first sector. This is insane.
So Hughes a little bit ahead, but not by much.
Come on, keep on the power. Dennis.
Right, Jake versus Jake, of course.
Has he still got that damaged wing? Yeah, you're right, Nick. He hasn't changed it. If Dennis does get through to the final, he's going to do it on a damaged wing. Cross the line then for Jake Dennis in the Andretti. Can he go faster?
Oh, Hughes still slightly ahead.
It's a 1:12.595. 5. Hughes is right behind him. Now, it's not looking too bad. Here he is, coming through the pelotada, accelerating hard as well. Over 2. Oh, he's shaking the wheel as well. The car's not used to having this much power down as well. Big slide coming
Dennis
through
has got it.
Yeah, oh, it's so level. But there's a snap from Hughes. There's a second snap. And those 3 snaps cost him a 10th and a half. Dennis goes through to the final. Hughes starts 3rd. Wow.
Good effort by Jake Hughes, but I think he just fell short at the end there.
That caught by surprise. Dennis goes through with a broken wing.
Dennis or Degrassi on pole then? No, I don't think many people were expecting that.
Mega, mate. Awesome job. Keep the pace up. Well done. Mega lap.
Wow. This is insane.
I have to say, I feel Degrassi's kind of gotten a bit lucky to get this far up the grid with Lotterer messing up and Buemi just missing out. So
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's going to be Dennis on pole, this man.
Right, let's take a quick look at the YouTube chat. Copa says it's better for the Formula E to have stuck with TV culture. The brand is treating the Formula E how it's treating the Indy. Yeah, I see what you mean with IndyCar as well.
TV Cultura, is that a station in not Mexico, Spain? Maybe?
Spain, yeah.
I'm not sure where Copa Panara is actually from.
Astral, says, I'll happily pay Formula E directly to watch Formula E live. Quite sad I'd have to do $60 to $80 dues for direct TV just to watch it in the US. Would be nice if it was a packaged with F1 TV. I think there needs to be a motorsport package, actually. It'd be quite nice to do. But if you're enjoying this qualifying, then join us for the race later, where we're going to have Techeetah team principal Mark Preston joining us in the commentary box to give sort of exclusive team principal access, because I can't remember a Formula E team principal ever being in the commentary box.
Well, most of them are out at the track.
Yeah. Or even a post team principal, because McNish.
A couple of people saying they would pay directly for the. I think a lot of us would love to have a Formula E exclusive sort of service, but I think the problem is that Formula E is a little bit too niche.
Yeah.
To actually have enough. With Formula 1, you've got that massive inbuilt fan base from what 70 years, sorry, over 70 years of the sport existing, including like before Grand Prix racing existed as a F1, because obviously it dates back all the way to the 20s.
Yeah, and this is the 9th year of Formula E as well. It's 2023. We started in 2014, so next year in 2024 it'll be season 10.
Sirius as Verstappen for pole. I know it's Mexico, but it's not that category.
He's a bit busy, isn't he? He's doing the Le Mans Virtual.
He is, yeah. I forgot about that.
Along with a lot of our friends from the esports world. TV Cultura is Brazil, of course.
Ah, Brazil, yes.
So the 2 countries, I guess, are exactly wrong.
Surprised it's not on free to air. Oh, Nikki Shields.
You wanted a nice, clean, fresh start. And what a way to start the season into the duels in the first race.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at our season last year, to be straight in the duels in the opening round is very, very positive. I mean, honestly, even in pre-season testing, Valencia, the cars felt strong. I was a little bit concerned in testing because I didn't quite put the laps together because it's a very difficult car to drive, the Gen 3 in general. But I put a good lap together and got into the duels. It's just a shame I was paired with Jake Hughes because he was the fastest out of all of them. So, but yeah, overall, pretty happy.
I mean, the performance from Jake Hughes as well this weekend has been pretty phenomenal. Is he going to be the man to beat?
I think he's been very unlucky in his career, to be honest. He deserves this opportunity. He's a very, very fast driver. So it's good to see him here. And, yeah, I think we'll see a lot of him like that, yeah, because he's fast. Yeah.
Well, I love it. You're here, McLaren Neum are here, shaking things up, expecting the unexpected in Formula E, as always. Well, good luck for the race.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Dan.
Dan Tickton there with Nikki Shields as well. And actually, I'll just take this opportunity while we've got the break, actually. I did Jenny Gow. I'm used to throwing down to her a lot, actually, as well, when I'm listening to F1 and she's doing an interview in the pre-show. Just want to say all our thoughts and prayers are with Jenny Gow, who sadly suffered a stroke 2 weeks ago as well. She's in hospital.
Yeah, that was very sad.
She's doing okay. She's got a long road of recovery, but if anyone can pull through, it's Jenny. Let's head back down to Nikki quickly with Angelotto.
You know, it's to make mistakes with these tires. The group is it's not the same as what we used to. So to find the limit, be in the right window, there's not much forgiveness. So I thought it was fine, and I started to lock up a little bit, and then that was it. Too bad, because I think we were up, so maybe there was potential to go into the finals against my teammate. But overall, a good team performance, so we can be happy.
I mean, it's a brilliant place to start the season from. Just quickly talk us through how's life at Andretti?
It's pretty good. Was welcomed very warmly and felt at home very quickly. I also came with my engineer Fabrice, so that sped things up, and it's really cool to be a teammate with Jake. We get along really well. We got along with dinner last night, so we really work well together. And no, I'm happy to have this constellation also with the Porsche powertrain. So yeah, hopefully I can contribute to team success and get my first win.
Yes, that's what we want, Andre. First wins coming this season. Good luck, all the best.
Absolutely. Do you reckon
I
he
love
will?
that comment. Oh, these new tyres from Hankook, they're not very forgiving, are they? I'm reminded of Tobey Maguire from the Spider-Man series. You want forgiveness, get religion.
Okay, we're getting ready.
A couple of comments about the Lego cars.
Oh, yeah.
Guili E. Alabi says, "Bro, where do you find the Lego of Formula E? I only have Jaguar." Yeah, that's because they made a Gen 2 version of Jaguar car. These are custom ones made by me. I sort of started with the Mercedes. This is Degrassi and Dennis going for the the final duel, the final. I just called it the final. I don't know why I'm adding it. But I started with the Mercedes that they released last year for the F1 car, and I basically reverse engineered it into an FE car with a couple of hints and stuff I found from other people online. They were doing their own FE cars, and I thought stole a few ideas from them, admittedly. But I did come up with a few of my own and had to package it together. And I am putting instructions up on the Formula E subreddit. I've made a post with all the cars there. So if you want instructions there, I'm slowly sort of going through and recoloring for the same instructions essentially for each team. But anyway, final coming up, Dennis or Degrassi then? What do you guys think? I think it's got to be Jake Dennis.
I think Dennis, just because Degrassi made mistakes in each of his Super Poles and still got to get into the final. What do you think, Nick?
Dennis.
Yeah.
For me.
We've all gone Dennis. We've all gone the same.
A very heavy UK. Well, I have a very anti-Degrassi bias, I will admit.
Yes.
He blocked me on Twitter some years ago. Recently, he's been saying all sorts of crazy stuff, like quoting Aaron Rand and stuff like that, sort of right-wing people. So I have to admit, it doesn't endear me to him anymore. But I already didn't like him anyway.
I'll tell you one thing. I've just had a text message saying, "What are you holding in your clipboard?" Well, on one side, it's the running order for what qualifying was in the group stages. On the other, it's the timetable of events for today, because the final's coming up at 10:50 Mexico time, which is in 1 minute 20 seconds. But on the other side, it's what I've been writing down is my qualifying tracker. So I remember where everybody was in the session, and I know who's coming up. And it's an absolute mess on this one as well. I don't know if that camera's picking it up well, but it's a massive mess. In order to get it all sorted, but it's a Bible to help out as we come through, as we see. Taking of pole
like
positions.
the Bible, it's open to interpretation.
Yes, that's definitely true. Just quickly, as well as the cars head out onto the circuit as well, Lucas Degrassi actually holds the record, I think, isn't it, for most podiums, not poles, podiums, because he's had 39 podiums in Formula E. But in terms of pole positions, he's only had 3 on my recollection, if I have a look.
He did have one taken away from him, if I remember correctly, in Santiago in
Yes.
season 5, I think.
Yeah, he had
So
one.
he can get pole positions. He's had some very impressive pole laps, but usually he's more known as he's a little bit like Alan Prost, where he's very quick, but he's more well known for sort of coming through in the races, and he has that sort of reputation as sort of more of a professor-like driver rather than a sort of attacking, qualifying Ayrton Senna sort of style driver, which is maybe a little bit unfair in terms of, because we have seen him drive very attacking races, but I think Dennis might have, like I said, might have the edge on him
Green flag.
with his prodigious speed that we've seen time and time again.
Well, when they've
pretty
faced
much every season.
Yeah, when they've faced each other previously as well, Dennis has beat Degrassi 2-1. And actually, if you look at pole positions, as I said, Degrassi has 3, but Jake Dennis also has 3 as well. So these are both going.
Jake
for
Dennis has only been around. Most of those poles are admittedly at London, though.
Yes, because
I think all apart one of them.
Yeah,
in Valencia.
Dennis has done 31 races. Degrassi is the only driver in Formula E to do all 100. Because Bird's done 98, DaCosta's done 96, Vern's done 98. But he has done every single one since season 3 in Punta del Este, and I think Buemi is the other one, isn't he?
Season
1, yeah.
Hasn't Vern been there since season 1 until he missed the first 2 races?
Yes, yeah. He missed the first 2 races as well. Yeah, he didn't do Beijing 14 or Putrajaya 14 as well.
He was still in F1, wasn't he? 2014.
He saw Formula E as a
Unavailable.
downgrade, didn't he? I mean, do you remember when he came in Do you remember when he came in Punta del Este? He didn't want to be there. He was moody. He was angry. He'd just been dropped by Toro Rosso and Red Bull. And he stuck it on pole position, led half the race, and then lost it because he didn't know how to regen the car in the second half of the race. So it was quite funny. Final lap.
I thought it was a technical error, but then he certainly got a lot better at regenerating energy.
Yes. Picks for pole. We've all gone Dennis. And we're about to go with the final now because Degrassi sets off in towards turn number 1 in that Mahindra with the goldy grey front end of the car. It's quite easy to tell the Avalanche Andretti with Jake Dennis flying out the last corner as well. Will Andretti be on pole position here in Mexico City? The closest they'll get to their home race, of course, until we head to Portland in the 24th of June. Hopefully we'll be on site for that race as well. Fingers crossed everything works out for that with the grid network as well. And a little bit side by side. This is a good lap. Dennis has dropped 7/10. What's happened there?
Ooh.
He's
That's
dropped.
odd.
He's massively down.
That might be a timing issue, but we'll see.
Oh, he's locked up again. I think there might be something wrong.
Oh,
It's Dennis has
Andretti
done it.
really-
He's
they're
1.1
really
down.
clutching it in these duels.
I don't think he's got full power. I think you were right. I don't think he's got full power. Degrassi is going to get his 4th career pole position and start Generation 3 off with a bang. Out of the last corner, 3.17 seconds down.
Margin. Here's Dennis's radio.
Otherwise, you need to finish the laps. Don't need to finish
Dennis needs to finish the lap, but it's academic because Lucas Degrassi takes pole position for Mexico E-Prix. Season 9, round 1, and qualifying for pole and 3 points on the board goes to Lucas Degrassi. A 1:13.575, not the fastest lap we've seen in this session. Dennis will come across the line. What will his last time be? It's a 1:16.516, 2.941 off the pace. Second, but Degrassi's on pole.
Commentator's curse.
Yeah. The first one of the year.
Dennis he was about 3 seconds down, so he did gain back a little bit of time near the end. But yeah, Mahindra on pole, who'd have thought that?
That came out of nowhere. What a session. Josh said, Nick, Josh, who did you say for pole? Yeah.
we cursed it, didn't we?
Yeah.
We must have misheard. It was definitely Degrassi.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like Dennis does sound like Degrassi, doesn't
He
it?
may be on pole, but I still don't like him.
Here he is.
Pole position, mate. Pole position. Keep your lap time. 120% rule, mate. Keep the tire temperatures up.
Yeah, you've got to get back to the pit lane within 120% of your original distance, which, if I can get to my page quickly enough, I think I've got it somewhere on my list of graphics here. 3 minutes, 29 seconds is the maximum reference time as well. You've got to get back to the pit lane as well. And later on, by the way, because we've now moved away from 45 minutes plus 1 lap, it will be a 36-lap race coming up later on as well. And we'll have everything as well in terms of new rules and regulations sorted then. Reminder that Techeetah team principal Mark Preston will be joining us in the commentary box for the E-Prix. We're underway at 7 o'clock GMT. Let's go to Gussie.
Copy P1. Come on, team, come on! Come on!
Yeah, so Mark Preston, the Techeetah team principal, will be joining us in the commentary box for the E-Prix. That's later on. We're underway an hour before lights out. That's at 7 p.m. And this is why Dennis lost his lap time. He had an okay turn 1, bounced a bit, but just lost a lot of time
Lights
coming
were
to turn 3.
blue, so it didn't look nothing looked too wrong at that phase. Through turn 1, 2.
It's the highlighting turn 3. Oh, he's locked up at 3. Yeah, as Nick said.
Oh, yeah, and that meant he just had to avoid the wall, basically, and that destroyed his rhythm, because watch into turn 6 here.
Locked up again, same tyre.
Yeah, he almost did the exact same thing that Lotterer did.
Yeah, punched it away, and that's not how you want to take lap times anymore, I'm afraid. Let's take a quick look at it as well.
Still, he starts on the front row. It's not a total disaster for Andretti.
Yeah. I'll tell you what as well, we're just about to take a look at the full starting grid.
And he's still got that missing bit of the wing, hasn't he?
Yes.
Did he? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, still there. Look, they're flapping away still. Didn't change it. Suppose you can't change it because when you enter qualifying, you're in Parc Fermé, aren't you? So I'll have to get permission to change that.
Dennis will be asking for the bollards to be moved a little bit further to the right.
Maybe just right in front of Lucas Degrassi as well for turn number 1. Okay, they've all made it stick. This is how they will start round 1 of Season 9 of ABB FIA Formula E. Pole position then, here on the grid. Lucas de Grassi for the 4th time. Jake Dennis will take 2nd. Jake Hughes actually will go into 3rd position as well. Andre Lotterer is 4th. Dan Ticktum starts in 5th position. Very high for the Neos after a very troubling Season 8. They're more better in Season 9. Then moving down as well, we get Pascal Verlaine in 6th position. Sebastian Buemi starts in 7th, very good there. Sasa Fenstras starts 8th. Antonio Felix Costa's 9th. Mitch Evans takes 10th position as well. 11th for Jean-Eric Verne. Nick Cassidy is 12th. Sergio Sete Camera 13th. Stoffel Van Dorn 14th. Rene Rast is 15th. Eduardo Mortara 16th. Max Gunther is 17th. Nico Muller 18th. Robin Friends 19th. Norman Nato is 20th. Sam Bird 21st. And Oliver Rowland is in 22nd place. Well, chaps, what a session that was as well. It's a nice looking grid. We expected Jake Dennis. We got Lucas de Grassi. Is this a run at a championship for Lucas, or is this a flash in the pan? Because he does love Mexico as well, but then performs poorly at other circuits around the world.
Well, I wouldn't say universally performs poorly. He's a very good driver, de Grassi, but I have a feeling that if Dennis can sort out if Andretti can sort out those issues with the tyres essentially and does not lock up, then I reckon he can probably nip ahead at some point and snatch first win of the season. I did predict Mortara to win going in, and both the Maseratis have qualified quite badly. But here's Dennis. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Oh, there was a few. Obviously, starting front row, I literally did not dream of this coming into the race weekend. I honestly thought we were far from the quickest, and to end up on the front row, super happy for the team. Andre's 4th as well, but I'm just a bit disappointed with the whole session. Like they made me go out with half a front wing, and the cars were already hard enough to drive, and then send me out with the front wing flapping around, and then obviously it's just a snowball effect for me, and it's just you're literally going into the fight one-handed. So I don't understand why they didn't give me a new front wing for safety reasons, and I'm pretty disappointed with the officials with that.
So did you know you were going out with a damaged front wing before?
Yeah, like the thing's flapping around all over the place. I can see it going down the straight light all over the place, and for such safety reasons, I don't know how they let me go out like that. So pretty disappointed. Pole was obviously there for the taking, and nevertheless, obviously front row, we've got an efficient race car, and definitely going to go for the win. Put a new front wing on it and see how we get on.
That's what we like to hear. Thanks very much. Jake Dennis.
Nick, what did you make of that session then as well coming forward? We've got around about a minute left before me and Ed have to dive off to Grid Network. So what did you make of that quali, Nick?
Very close, unpredictable, a lot of issues. Hopefully we're in for a good race.
It looks like we will be. Jake Dennis then just had a mistake all throughout qualifying, hitting the bollard, made it to the final, but will start 2nd on the grid. Lucas de Grassi does take pole position as well for this first race of Generation 3 Season 9. We're underway. Our coverage begins at 7 o'clock GMT. So that's in a couple of hours' time. That's 2 hours, actually, exactly. Join us here an hour before the start of the race, because Mark Preston as well is joining us in the commentary box as well. Mark Preston, I know, Ed, I just saw your face as well. Mark Preston is joining me in the commentary box alongside Ed and Nick for coverage of the E-Prix. We're going to pick his brains about what it's like being a team principal in Formula E as well. And, of course, he's been 100 races in that paddock as well. First with Amlin, then with Techeetah. So he's got a lot to look forward to as well. We're all done then. We're going to disappear and we'll be back for the race. Your pole sitter is Lucas de Grassi. My thanks to you, Ed. My thanks to you, Nick. We'll see you later. 5 o'clock. Don't go anywhere because it's going to be a good one. 2 hours time. Then you can join us for the race. Bye for now.